What's up guys, Swade here. Welcome back to yet another YouTube video on the channel. I just want to thank you for the views and the support we got on the last video. Just like last video, this is for the Last Rites Recruitment Challenge, so I'd appreciate if you give it an extra like. It takes 2 seconds out of your time. Make sure to subscribe. But today we're not doing anything too crazy. We're just going to be going over my thoughts on Shadowkeep after it's been out for almost a week, and if I think you should buy it. Is it worth it? Is it a fun DLC? Did I get a good game time out of it? Am I bored already? So we're going to be addressing some of those questions. Right here I have my Titan, who I did most of my Shadowkeep on. I've had a chance to play the raid. I've had a chance to play the new Vex offensive game mode. I'm legend in comp. I've gotten new exotics, and I've leveled up my power along with new weapons. So I have about maybe 3 full 4 days of game time, full days since Shadowkeep launched on last Tuesday. So I'm going to be breaking down my thoughts on the DLC so far, starting with PvP. So, as most of you should know, there weren't too many PvP changes. The big ones are supers are now extremely easy to kill. Well, not extremely, but they're much easier to kill than they were before. So you can one-hit headshot any super with something like the Beloved, which is honestly a relief. I really like how the supers play now. You know, if you get a good super in, it'll benefit your team, but it's not like if you pop a slam, it's your whole team is dead. You know, there's much more leeway than there used to be, and that I extremely like. I've been running Top G Sentinel, excuse me here, with Bubble, and I've been running the Helm of Saint 14 PvP, which pretty much get blinded. Enemies get blinded when they enter Ward of Dawn, and you and allies who pass through gain overshield. And Guardians with Sentinel Shield blind nearby enemies. So it's a really helpful exotic for both your team and yourself. It pretty much gives you the Blessing of Light perk back in Destiny 1 bubble. So they also buff the bubble by giving you Weapons of Light and having more health. So not only will you get Weapons of Light, but if you walk out the bubble with this exotic on, you'll also get an overshield. So it's extremely strong. It boosts weapon damage by a ton. Something like Revoker can one-hit body shot now. It's carnage, and it's also a safe haven for your teammates who all get the buff. So as far as PvP goes, as my criticisms, Recluse. This also goes to PvE as well. Recluse is still extremely strong, extremely broken, still top tier PvP and PvE weapon, along with Mountaintop as well. I've ran into multiple people running Mountaintop Recluse in PvP. It's been annoying, to say the least, and I was hoping that they would nerf these two weapons, both in PvE and PvP, so they wouldn't be the most dominant gun in the game. One thing I will say, though, in PvE, during the raid, I noticed a lot of people were switching their loadouts. A lot of people were running Izanagi's Burden, sniper rifles in the raid. They were running the Risk Runner on the final encounter. So I did like seeing a lot of weapon variety and loadout variety during the raid that happened on Saturday, a couple days ago. So that's the next thing I want to touch on. But just all around, I wish they would have nerfed One-Eyed Mask, because it still is just as broken. I wish they would have nerfed Mountaintop and Recluse, and made other guns a little bit more viable to give you a little bit more of a chance against some of the better guns. But moving on to the raid. So as you can see, I did have a chance to run the raid. I have some raid armor, which there's not too much to criticize on. So far, I really like what I'm seeing. I like the design on the sides and the blue, of course. I think it looks pretty awesome. But the raid itself was fantastic in my opinion. The visuals were great. It kept me intrigued. I didn't know what I was going into. There were new mechanics. They weren't recycled mechanics from other raids or other strikes. They're completely new. Bosses we haven't seen before. There were 2 bosses instead of just 1 in the Crown of Sorrows. The final boss had a crazy amount of mechanics, and it could be buggy at times, but overall, it required a skill and mastery that some other raids don't have. That you can't just pick up on. It takes deaths, it takes wipes, it takes run-throughs, and I really liked it. I liked seeing streamers struggle on this. I like seeing people struggle, because that's what raids are supposed to be. They're not supposed to be easy, they're supposed to be difficult. So I did really like the raid. I liked how they did the tether system. It definitely could have been a lot less buggy and a lot easier to use. And the fact that you lose your capability of shooting during your time being tethered is a little annoying. But besides that, I really like the system. It's unique. The raid overall was beautiful and stunning. One of the best Destiny raids probably the best Destiny 2 raid they've come out with so far. Now, moving on to the Vex Offensive game mode that dropped along with the raid on Saturday. In order to gain access to this mode, you do have to complete a couple quests from Eris Morn. Not too hard, but I am a little bit disappointed in this game mode for multiple reasons. You spawn in and you complete encounters, killing bosses, resetting oracles, killing supplicants. You have to do that twice. It's just you go to a different area and you do it twice. It's almost like it's a mock version of the Menagerie, a less fun, less what's the right word? It doesn't have as much variety as the Menagerie. With the Menagerie, you never know what you're going to get, what boss you're going to get. It changes every week, and the runs are really fun. They incorporate different raid mechanics. But this one, you get weapon drops throughout the raid, new weapons, and or not the raid, but the event. And then at the ending of the event, you get other drops, armor drops. You get these alloy gauntlets or anything that you need. But I found myself getting bored extremely fast. Even my first run through, there was nothing special that stood out to me. The boss fight was pretty lame. I didn't really like the game mode, and my second criticism is the weapons. Now, they perform cool, and they perform pretty nicely, but if you look at them, they're complete reskins from the Prophecy guns back in Curse of Osiris that dropped, that I argue are some of the coolest looking guns, but now they just added leaves on them in Rust. So they did not go the extra mile on this part of the expansion. That just looks like this the hand cannon, and the subjunctive looks exactly like the prophecy weapon. I'm blinking. So definitely not something I'm a fan of. The Vex offensive mode, definitely probably my least favorite part of this entire expansion. But as far as the raid goes, they definitely spent a lot of time on the raid, and I'm glad what they did with it. I believe my max light with my highest equipped things on after a few days of grinding. And just as a heads up, I did not grind as much as I definitely could have. I didn't get as high light as a lot of other people are. Yeah, 930 is my light right now. I could definitely be higher, but this is what I ended up settling on. So it's pretty good. It only took me a few days to get here, and then the last point I really want to touch on before the end of this video, I don't want to be too long, but is the campaign. There's a lot of mixed reviews about the campaign on if it's good or not, if it's worth playing, if it's boring, and I also have mixed opinions on the campaign. I like some of the missions, I don't like other missions. I like having the moon back, but sometimes it feels just like recycled content. The final mission was fun just because of Crota. If it wasn't for Crota, the final mission would have blown completely. Some people are calling it a big debate. I liked it overall out of 10, 10 being the highest. I would say it was about a 6 maybe. Definitely wasn't the best. Definitely not as good as the Rise of Iron campaign, or even the the campaign from last year. I'm blanking. The Forsaken campaign. It wasn't as good as those. It was a solid campaign. Definitely better than something like Curse of Osiris Warmind, but it wasn't the greatest campaign. So overall, should you get this DLC, $30 comes with the raid, the moon access, the story access. It comes with the battle pass for free, which I really like. It gives you something to grind for at all times until you reach the end, of course. Really cool weapons, really cool armor mods, not mods, armor ornaments, exotics even. I got a Monte Carlo to drop for me out of this exotic Engrim here. So I think it's worth it. I think it's worth buying. You get new maps. They did recycle some maps that I enjoy. New exotics. And I guess I should touch on that, but the Deathbringer exotic is one of my new favorite exotics in the game. It's everything an exotic should be. It's got a really cool perk on it. It looks awesome, and it performs well. It's got everything an exotic should be. So overall, should you buy this expansion? Yes, you should. There's a lot of new content to get. You're going to enjoy playing the game. I would hope so, at least. PvP could still get some tuning, but it's still an enjoyable experience overall. Comp is much easier now than it was before. I think I hit Legend the second day. A lot of people hit it the first day. But it's really easy to come by for the casual players. There's now the solo game mode. So overall, out of 10, I would give this a 7 out of 10 DLC, just because the Vex Offensive was quite a letdown for me, personally. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are down below. Once again, make sure to drop a like, tweet this out on your Twitter, share it on Facebook, whatever. I love all the publicity it can get. Make sure to subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next one.